Now, in the midst of chaos, having even a moment of good news brings relief and restores hope. In what many are describing as much needed sigh of relief, President Bola Tinubu has welcomed the release of the 24 abducted schoolgirls from Kebbi State, freed in Niger State after days of uncertainty. The schoolgirls, taken during a recent attack in Kebbi State, were rescued through coordinated security operations. President Tinubu also ordered a full security cordon across forests linking Kwara, Kebbi and Niger states. Security agencies are to intensify patrols, mount checkpoints and expand air surveillance to prevent further attacks on schools and rural communities. Okay, Adewale Adeyi, this is a good thing. Yeah. Good news that the schoolgirls are back. But talk to me, first of all, your reaction to this story.
Well, I think it was bad news that students were kidnapped. But even, in the midst of a cloud, sometimes you have a silver lining. I think for the fact that they all returned and none of them was killed, it's enough joy for us. But then our fear continues to linger. Okay. What may have happened to these students? Only those students, can tell the story. The full story, they are the custodians of that full story. They were kept for about 1 week. These are children, these are our own children. Yes. So in a way, I think we have diminished their hope, in their own country. I think we have exposed them to disgrace. I think their birthright, their honor, dignity were taken away from them. And it wasn't their fault, So, and I think the other bigger thing is that there are all sorts of questions that 24 students were taking. And when you want to pack 24 people to take them away, it takes some time. It's not just something you do in 10 minutes, not 20 minutes, not 15 minutes. And they came from somewhere. That long distance, nobody sighted them when they were coming. And then they got there, they were taken away, and when they were going, nobody sighted them. And where they were kept, Kebbi is not a tropical forest. So it's not, you can't compare with a place like River State where you have thick tropical forests, Greeks and all that. So they were there, and for a long time, for days, they were not sighted, nobody, they could not be rescued. I'm aware that rescuing such tender children is a very risky venture because you have to avoid a situation where there will be human fatality. So it's a very delicate one. But I think there are so many questions unanswered. There are reports that security people withdrew, shortly before they were attacked. And I'm also worried that this took place in Kebbi, a state where, a region where there is little interest in education, in the girl education. So this may discourage, girls in the north from going to school. And also, I'm also concerned that these students may not like to go back to that school because they are definitely going to live with that trauma for a very long time.
All right, let's go to Abuja studios where BKO is. Okay, BKO, okay, well, we're still waiting for that one. But now that they've been, the question is, were there arrests? During or after the operation? Did you hear anything?
Well, as at now, as we speak, no arrests have been made. And it's not just enough to rescue them. I think the most important thing is to foster future reoccurrence. And what we have had is a situation where, people kidnapped and rescued, but it happens again. Look at, what happened between Eruku again, just not to... And we are wondering, what was the mission of that? Those people, were they reacting to the statement made by President Trump? Were they attempting to use those students as human shield? Were they thinking that they would be attacked so soon so that they could use that the children as bargaining chips? And I also wonder, why did they go after students that are primarily Muslim? Were they trying to erase, to give the impression that there was no Christian genocide? and
lots of questions.
Yeah, a lot of questions. And while doing that, then they went after Christians, in Eruku. Well, is there a political, diplomatic section of this, group that tries to guide them, how to carry out their activity? Because these are young men. But when you look at the sophistication, you could see a kind of, a knowledge, about responding to the dynamics of international policy. Because why kidnapping students? In the midst of debate that there's Christian genocide, are you trying to give the impression that, we are not only after Christian, we are also after? So there are all sorts of things, tied to this issue. And also the political angle that it seems there are, untouchables that are responsible for some of these things, doing this with the sole aim of destabilizing the country against a government that they think they don't like, and they just want to bring the government down at all costs.
I love that point that you raised, how to make sure that this thing does not happen again. Because if you look at the Constitution, Section 14, Section 2, at B, which talks about the responsibility of the Nigerians to ensure that the security and welfare of Nigerians. Now, what should the government do or be doing as a matter of urgency so that this thing does not happen again?
You see, we are pleading with the government that when we talk, they should listen to us. Because as journalists, we have a lot of experience. We have covered several bits. And the government can learn from the wealth of experience that many of us have, in the several experiences we have had on the field. We are not politicians. We are just here to tell the government the truth.
Exactly.
So the thing is that Nigeria has about 23,000, thereabout secondary schools. And if you have 2 policemen, in each of the secondary school, you are going to be having about 47,000 policemen attached to these secondary schools. Now, you have a situation where more than 100,000 policemen are guiding VIPs.
Yes.
So half of that number, is still enough to guide all the secondary schools across the country. Even when you are going to have about 3 policemen in each secondary school, you are still going to have about 70,000. You are going to have about 70,000 policemen deployed, which is still less than over 100,000 men. It tells you that priority, we are building security. The security is designed in a way to protect individuals in government and not to protect the society. So we need to change our security architecture to take, so that the people, can take priority, especially vulnerable communities like, the students and, who cannot, defend themselves.
All right. Just been told that BKO is joining us from Abuja studios. BKO, it's so good to have you join us on the show.
Thank you.
All right, BKO, it's a good thing that the students are back. First of all, let me get your reaction to this. And also, just like what I asked you earlier this week, were arrests made during or after the operation? Talk to us.
I'm very happy, and Mr. President is dutifully excited that the trauma has come to an end for parents and for the kids who are taken away. I agree that investigation still needs to be done about the circumstances in which the military withdrew from guiding that school. But as I've said before, the solution is not simply to put 3 policemen or 3 soldiers in a school, because that may never be sufficient. And I've given the example of the school in Chibok, where we had a number of soldiers, and we were convinced that those soldiers were enough. Instead of allowing those children to write their school certificate examination in the state capital, which was the suggestion of the head of the WAEC national office, we thought that the soldiers that we had guarding the school were enough. When you don't know how many people the terrorists are bringing, so putting policemen 3 policemen, as Adewale suggested, in every school is not the solution. The solution is to remove the threat completely. You have to remove the threat that bandits constitute, especially in semi-urban and rural communities. You have to remove the threat. And as a nation, we are capable of defeating these non-state actors. It just takes the strong will, the political will, to say we are declaring a war. It's going to, this war is going to last months, even years, if possible, but we want to exterminate these people. And I've given examples of countries where they declare this kind of war and they successfully exterminated those terrorists. All of the stories we hear that, terrorists are driven by dogma, this and that they will not, nobody defeats terrorists, especially if they are driven by religious ideology. It's absolute falsehood. We need to stop peddling. It was the same way they told us in the past in this country that don't hire foreign coach. A foreign coach will never coach you to beat his country. How many people believe that story? Whereas Otto Gloria, who coached Nigeria to win the Nations Cup in 1980, took Portugal to beat his country, his home country of Brazil. And other coaches too have done it. France. Senegal defeated France in the 2002 World Cup with a French coach. What are we talking about? So we can defeat these bandits. We can defeat these terrorists. We just must come up with the right security framework that will make that happen. And the president already has plans to put rangers, forest rangers, in those forests. There are people know, there are going to be people who know those communities very well. Because if you bomb these terrorists or these bandits at a location, they are going to disperse, but they will come back. How many times have our Air Force bombed them from some locations and they still came back? Because you did not put boots on ground. You don't even have enough troops anyway to put boots on ground in all of the places where we need to put them. That is where these rangers come in. The forest rangers will then be deployed to those critical forests where we need to put boots on ground, where we need to secure our people, because they come from this forest to terrorize people. All of the major forests in northern Nigeria, we've done stories about them. Some of those forests stretch as far as Central African Republic. And we have left them for so long, unattended, for so long. Look at the Kainji Lake National Park, a national asset. Today, ISWAP has established its presence there in Niger State. From there, they are attacking people in Shiroro and other parts of our country. So we need to defeat them. When we defeat them, we'll take that threat away.
Absolutely.
That is important. Now, people talk about, okay, what did they do? Why didn't they make arrests? Why did they allow the terrorists to get away? What I know that these people do, because some of the people come up with this argument, they don't even know what they are saying. What usually happens, once you've negotiated with these people, and sometimes you negotiate and don't necessarily pay money. I know of situations when a bandit leader was used to pile pressure on another bandit leader who had picked up school children, and he had to release those school children without a dime being paid. I know that very well. I don't want to go into details so that I don't offend some of the people who give me information. Another bandit leader was approached. He then piled pressure on a bandit leader who had picked up school children, and he was forced to release those children. They didn't pay a dime. Government didn't pay a dime. So it happens sometimes. There are different kinds of negotiations. Sometimes if you corner these bandits, you have them surrounded. If they can see clearly that they have no escape, they can release those children. So this also happens. Now, when you release them, they also know that you are going to come back to drop bombs on their heads.
Exactly.
So immediately, when they release those children, they know that you will come back to deal with them in that particular location where they are localized. They will immediately leave that place and go elsewhere. I have information as we speak today that the bandit leader terrorizing some parts of Kwara State, seeing that he is in trouble, he is already heading towards Kogi State. So we have to be vigilant and ensure that he does not escape from here, only to go and constitute extreme pain to our people in Kogi State. So the governor of Kogi State, the security forces, they have to be vigilant because he will go, he is already planning to go and hide there. And these are contiguous states, so it's possible for them to move around.
All right, Bikio.
So this is the situation. It's not in all cases that, okay, money is actually paid. That point has to be made. It's not every negotiation that ends in money being paid. This is a fact. So, and it's not in all cases that you can actually drop bombs. As Bayo Nonuga explained on a TV station, you do not drop bombs when you know that those children are with them. You have to treat these people with care. You have to manage them properly so that once we are able to secure the release of these people, then our conflict with them continues. All of the noise, they've not arrested, they've not... The most important thing is that those children are out. If you had a child among those who are kidnapped, your priority will be to see your child alive. That is the most important thing. And those children have been released. We have to thank God for little mercies. And then after that, we know that we have an unfinished business with these good-for-nothing people.
Okay. All right. Now, the president has ordered security cordon in Kebbi, Kwara, and Niger Forest. But Bikio talked about something. Talk about this issue of forest cordon. How effective can the forest cordon operations, when the terrorists can often exploit the vast, untapped terrain and cross-state boundaries? How do you react to that?
In modern security architecture, drones are some of the equipment, that are very effective in monitoring terrorists, even in dense tropical forests. Area surveillance. We have modern equipment that can capture through satellite imaging. You can capture the location of terrorists, know where they are, know the kind of equipment they are having. So it's not every time that you need to put, soldiers on the ground. Once you have information about where they are, then it will be very easy for you to track them. So, and I think that our security design needs to be proactive. That is anticipating the action of terrorist organizations and take preventive measures to ensure that that crime do not take place in the first place. It's not every time that we need to be waiting for crimes to be committed. They will be running up and down. With good intelligence gathering, which we have seen happen in several countries, including Ghana, you can pick intelligence information and then take action to prevent, that crime from being committed. It's good that the president has ordered, area surveillance and all that, but I also feel that people should do their job. It should not be waiting for the president to be giving orders all the time. Once there's crime, there's police commissioner, there's somebody in charge of Air Force. There are things you need to do, even without waiting, without being told. There are rules of engagement. If crime has been committed somewhere, for the fact that the president has to be giving order all the time, may also leave us the impression that people don't know what they are doing.
All right, we have Henry calling in from Warri. Henry, let's talk.
Good evening,
Yes, good
Benga,
evening.
Mr. Benga. Good evening, Mr. Adoyi.
All right, go ahead.
I want to contribute to this, the release of the school children.
Okay.
I thank God that they have been released. But one thing I want to say is that the governors in northern Nigeria should act fast on intelligence. I believe that there is DSS command in all state chapters of this state of Nigeria. So the governors must, put in more effort on intelligence gathering. Just like in my state, Delta State, when arms and ammunition were found away to Delta State, the DSS acted very fast.
Okay.
So more on intelligence should be done. All
right, thank you.
This is my own conclusion. This is my own.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much.